All I need is your undivided attention, and in this video I will share with you a very powerful discovery I made about what makes successful leaders successful. This applies to whether those in business or in any other field of life. These 5 discoveries I made will surely benefit you. It will change your mind, it will change the way you do things, and then it will give you a bigger and a broader perspective about how to achieve success in life. So give me your undivided attention. The first thing I discovered about all great leaders is that they have a field they are passionate about, or they have an idea, or they have a problem they are interested in. So that means that they have a field they have interest in. Take for instance, we look at someone like Bill Gates. For instance, when you mention Bill Gates, what comes to your mind? Softwares. When you mention Jeff Bezos, what comes to your mind? Quickly, Amazon. So every great leaders that have achieved tremendous success in life, they have something they are really interested in. They have a field. Now, how about when you come to leaders? For instance, when you mention Nelson Mandela, what comes to your mind? Freedom, right? When you mention Barack Obama, for instance, what comes to your mind? Hope. So you see that it's not just in one field of life, it applies to all areas of life. They have people, they have things they are passionate about, they have things that they care about, they have things that they are working, that they have built a niche that people know them for. So the question you want to ask yourself, what field are you building your life around? What area do you want to be identified with that? When your name is mentioned, what will be associated with it? And that is where intentionality comes in, that you become intentional about how you structure your life and also the things you allow to come to your life. Now, how do you discover the area or the field to give attention to? Number one is interest. What are you interested in? Naturally, there are things that come to you naturally, right? There are problems that when you see it, so this could be either from unmet needs. When you look at your environment, whenever you see something is done poorly, you are easily attracted to it, right? And then if you discover not every problem attracts your attention, there are sometimes, maybe for example, as you're passing across the street and you see a lot of problems, but sometimes your mind does not go there. Why? Because you're not even interested in them. But there are things that your mind cannot go over, right? Whenever you see it being done poorly, you are quickly attracted to it. So that could be a field that you need to give attention to. Number two, what are the skills you have? Sometimes what you need is not a new skill, but an improvement on the current skills. Sometimes what will change your life most times is not acquiring a new skill. Of course, you need a new skill, but sometimes it's not even getting a new skill, but you becoming aware of the current skills you have and then how you can take advantage of them, right? So you need to look inward, and this is where making analysis like SWOT analysis, that is, SWOT analysis tells you of your strengths, tells you of your weaknesses, tells you of the opportunities available, and also let you know the threats that will hinder your ideas from being executed. So, but the most important thing there is to be aware of the strengths that you have, and then of course your weaknesses, you see how to mitigate them or delegate them to some other people. But then your area of strength is very important, something you need to pay attention to. Not only that too, as you analyze your field, before picking a field, you need to also look at the market size. The market size, is there a demand for that idea which you want to solve? Is there a demand for it? Now, if you want to turn this idea into a business, right, then you need to structure your idea such that it appeals to a large market, because unless the market you want to serve is large enough, the tendency of you being profitable from that is very small. That is why you need to target a large market of people who will be interested in what you're trying to solve. The second thing is people. Now, the scriptures says that without vision, the people perish. But you also know that without people, The vision will be frustrated, of course. No matter how great your idea is, if you don't have the right people, if you don't surround yourself with the right people that are capable of helping you achieve that vision, you discover that that idea will not yield the right result. So that means that if you think you have a great idea, you also need a great team to execute it. Now let me tell you this. An average idea backed up by a great team will produce better results than a great idea backed up by poor team. An average idea that is backed up by a great team will do better than a great idea that is backed up by a poor team. That is how important the people you choose to execute your idea is. But then here are a few things you need to put into consideration as you consider constituting your team. First thing is purpose. You must ensure that the people you are bringing into your team align with the purpose of the team, and they also believe in the project you are trying to execute. Now, it starts from the mind. When they are not aligned from the mind, it will be difficult or impossible for them to contribute much in the achievement of your project or your idea. So number one is purpose. Number two, positioning. That means that every team member must or should have a clear idea of what he or she is contributing to the achievement of that idea or that project. So whoever you are bringing into your team, you need to ask yourself a question. What is this person contributing to the success of this project? Number three is performance. That means there has to be a clear expectation and also accountability for the results. Do you know what? As I also study successful people, another thing that I got to discover that is very important is the third factor. I talked about passion, I talked about people. The third thing I want to talk about is place. Place. Now, there is a very popular adage that says all seeds don't grow everywhere. All seeds don't grow everywhere. Now, it's a very common understanding. If you look at in agriculture, for example, in agriculture we have different types of soil. We have the sandy soil, we have the loamy soil, we have the clay soil, right? So we see that as a farmer, when a farmer wants to plant a seed, he is very, very particular about knowing the kind of seed he wants to plant and then knowing the best soil that will suit that seed, right? The same thing too, the idea you want to plant, the idea you want to execute has an ideal place where it is positioned or designed to succeed. One of your major responsibilities, especially as a dreamer or as someone who is purposeful, who wants to achieve great things, is to ask yourself, where is the best environment suitable for this idea to thrive? Where is the best environment? Now, I want to also share with you some points that will help you better deciding the best environment or the best place for your idea to thrive. Number one, proximity. What does proximity here means? Proximity here means access to customers, suppliers, talent, and partners. For your project or your idea to be successful, you need to position it in a place that has access to partners. Partners, these are people that will be willing to work with you, either to sponsor you, to invest in your project, or work with you. Also, access to talents. Access to talents. Talent refers to the staff or the people that will help you achieve your idea. Access to customers or access to the target audience. These are the people that will be the end users of the products or the project you're working on. So how close are you to these people? Population. Is there a market large enough that will be interested in this idea or in this product I want to sell? That should inform your choice of place. Number four is policy. Now, you want to also understand that for your idea or for your project, your product to thrive, it must be built in a right environment that has supporting policies. Now, for example, there are places, for example, for those of you in Nigeria, you understand that in Lagos, for instance, we have free trade zones. Now, when you are operating in a free trade zone, for instance, the environment is very much conducive for you to do business. So that means that if you are in a place like that, for instance, it means that it becomes much easier for you to thrive as a business person. Not only that too, there are also laws, right? So the business you want to do or the idea you are thinking of executing, are there laws that makes it much easier, or are there laws that even prohibit the execution of that idea, or are there laws that will limit you from executing that idea? These are things you need to put into consideration before proceeding. Not only that, the next thing is presence. When we talk about presence here, we're talking about visibility. That means that you have to be present in the minds of the people. They say out of sight is out of mind. Once you are not present, they don't see. That means that your product have to be seen. You must give your product a visibility, and this is where content comes in. That means you need to start creating content around the product you do. If you are into real estate, for example, you need to start creating content about real estate. If you are into financial markets, you need to start creating content educating people about finance. If you are into AI, for example, this is the space where I function in, you need to start creating content about AI. So that means that whatever field you find yourself, you need to start creating content in that field. Then the fourth thing that I discovered that makes people successful in life is called period. I'm giving you the 5 P's of success. I talked about passion, I talked about people, I talked about place, and the fourth thing I'll be talking about is period. This is very important. Now, there are 2 major things that affect the execution of an idea, or that makes an idea great, is space and time. Space and time. Being in the right place at the right time, with the right people, for the right purpose. Being at the right place, in the right period, with the right people, for the right purpose. This, when combined together, makes an idea great. So now, how does period affect ideas? How does period affect your results? How does period affect the kind of success you get in life? By period, I mean understanding the relevance of your idea to the present season of life. For those of you who are Christians, the Bible said, there's a portion of the Bible where it says, and for the sons of Issachar, I would say what God gave them understanding of time to know what Israel ought to do, and their brethren were at their command. So that means that the sons of Issachar, they had understanding of time. The same thing too, you need to have understanding of time. By understanding of time, it means that you need to first of all understand, in the era in which we are now, the idea you want to execute. Number 1, preparedness. How prepared are you? When I talk about preparedness, I mean in terms of skill. Do you have the requisite skill required to execute this great idea you have in today? You need to also have access to resources. Other resources could be capital. That's talking about preparedness. Now, number 2, problem relevance. By problem relevance, it means how relevant is this problem you want to solve in today. Unfortunately, there are some people who are solving great problems, but unfortunately, they are solving the problems of yesterday, not today. For those who will thrive in the future are those who are able to look at today based on the problems of today, and they are able to ask in the future, what are the problems that will exist? So they start solving the problems of today that will be relevant even in the future. They solve the problems of today that will be relevant in the future. What does it mean? That means they are able to see decades ahead. They're able to see years ahead, and they start solving the problems from now. And before other people wakes up to understand what's going on, they have positioned themselves already, and they have gained unfair advantage. The same thing too, if you want to also succeed with your idea, you need to also be able to study the trend and understand what is a problem of today and how will this be relevant in the future. And then you start asking yourself, how can I position myself and be a solution to those problems? Not only that, study precedents. Now there's a saying that says there's nothing new under the sun. Now when you look at, unfortunately, many people don't give attention to history. And when you study history, you discover that everything happening today has happened before. Everything happening today has happened before in a way. There is a pattern. Say for example, today the world is grappling with the AI revolution. But you need to ask yourself, is this the first time the world is experiencing a revolution like this? Of course no. When you go back to history, you discover that there was a time when there was an agricultural revolution. And then who are the people that won during the agricultural revolution? They are the people that understood the time and then were able to make decisions, were able to act with respect to the definition of strength at that time. And then there was also the industrial revolution. That was when the world moved from manual labor to mechanized labor. Who were the people that survived or thrived at that time? They were the people that understood the definition of strength, because strength changes per time, strength changes per seasons. So when the world moved from manual labor to industrial or machines, the use of machines, those who won the war at that time were the people who understood how to use machines to their advantage. The same thing too in the world we are right now. AI is turning everything. AI is impacting almost every industries of life. You want to ask yourself a question: how can I use AI to my own advantage? We also see automations today. We see how being able to implement automations to your business or even into your personal life makes you achieve greater results. So you want to ask yourself a question: how can I deploy automation to whatever I am doing? This is a question you should be asking if you want to succeed in 2025 or even in the years coming. Another thing that affects period is pivot readiness. What is pivot readiness? Pivot readiness is the flexibility to adapt to changes, having the flexible mind to adapt to new things, to adapt to changes as they come. Because take it or leave it, life will not remain the way it has always been. There will always be changes. So the question is, how flexible are you to adapt to new changes as they come? These are the things that will determine those who succeed or those who fail in today and in the coming years. I've been able to share with you some of the discoveries I did about what makes people successful, and I hope that you're able to get one or two things from it. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and also click the subscribe button so that you can be updated, and also turn on the notification so that anytime we post video you will be notified. Till I come your way again, continue being the best version of you.